Good evening, everyone. It is finally starting to feel like spring. You could feel it today. You could feel it yesterday, right? Temps made into the upper 40s and low 50s. Grass is starting to turn green, and then Mother Nature throws this little curveball at us. Of course, we're talking about the next storm system for Wednesday night through Thursday. This will be a storm that brings some heavy, wet snow, strong winds, power outages are expected. But by this time next week, I think we're back in the 50s to near 60. So I think we'll see a lot of melting. We just have to get through the next couple of days. Thanks for joining us tonight on Twitter, YouTube, X, and Facebook as well. Things will start to head downhill Wednesday night. So I think tomorrow day is okay. I've been getting a lot of questions, how is tomorrow going to go down? If we see any precip during the day tomorrow, it's very, very light. And most of the day is probably just going to be mainly cloudy. In fact, some of you may even get a decent sunrise tomorrow morning. It's late afternoon and going into the evening, the precip gets going. And some of you may start as some rain, but you'll quickly flip over to snow, and snow becomes the dominant type of precipitation for tomorrow night. So we have a lot to talk about tonight, and won't waste your whole night. So let's jump into what we have for our headlines here. Same as last night, heavy wet snow. Many of you will get over a foot of snow. Strong winds, gusts 50 miles per hour expected, especially near the coast. We'll get into some problems with outages. That's going to be the big weather player, or the big problem, I think, by Thursday morning. So again, tomorrow looks mainly cloudy. Might get a few sunny breaks early on, and we'll introduce some of that rain and snow 3, 4, 5 o'clock or so. I guess it depends on where you are. If you're watching us in southern New Hampshire, it's early afternoon. If you're watching us up into central Maine, it's more likely the evening hours here. So tomorrow, things will head downhill during the evening. As far as snowfall amounts go, we really don't have any major changes from yesterday. The only kind of change we made is, I talked to Christian about this earlier. We decided to pull the 18 plus down into northern York County. There'll be spots up into northern interior York County that get 18 plus. Mount Washington Valley probably does. And there'll be some spots up here into Carrabassett Valley, Rangeley area that might get a few areas over 18 plus. I think the jackpot for most areas is going to be, you head inland just a little bit here. We're talking from Sanford up into the Sebago Lake area. This includes Lewiston up in Androscoggin County, back through the mountains. This is going to be a widespread foot to a foot and a half of snow. I think that's what we're thinking of this one. Foot to a foot and a half of snow will do it there. Let me get my head out of the way so you can see southern parts of New Hampshire. And, the question mark still remains, I think, at the immediate coast. I think those of you across mid-coast Maine, at least the peninsulas and islands, you get into the 5 to 10. Coastal York County, maybe parts of coastal Cumberland County, get into 5 to 10 as well. Portland proper, you're either on the low end of the 8 to 14 or upper end of the 5 to 10. My guess you're on the low end of the 8 to 14, but still some question marks, mainly over ratios. Temperature is going to be in the mid 30s. It might have a hard time accumulating in spots where it's a little bit colder. I think inland will get more efficient accumulation. Winter storm warnings go into effect 2 o'clock tomorrow. They go through 8 p.m. Thursday. There is the outside chance some of these could be converted to a blizzard warning. It's possible. All you need for that is winds sustained or gusting 35 miles per hour or more, visibility down to a quarter mile or less. Due to falling or blowing snow. You need that to happen for 3 hours or more. And that is possible for later tomorrow night and into Thursday morning. Let's highlight the time frame for strongest winds, probably about, I would say 10, 11 o'clock tomorrow night through about midday, through, let's call it lunchtime on Thursday. So all morning Thursday, it's going to stay windy. Coastal areas will get our strongest winds with gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour. We'll look at that in more detail in a moment. Hey, you look at the radar and you say, wow, look at that. It's on our doorstep. But the leading edge of that's going to stay to our south. I'm not too concerned about this tonight. That's all going to sneak off to our south. We have a textbook scenario in an area of low pressure moving up through the Midwest. We have a trailing cold front. There's a lot of severe weather. This is making national headlines. Tornadoes, severe thunderstorms, flooding in some of these cells. We're not expecting that. So that's good news. But we will get a secondary development right along. We call this a little triple point right here. And that's your classic nor'easter. When you open up the textbook to nor'easters in weather school, this is how they form. You get one area of low pressure moves up in the Great Lakes. Second one forms, becomes the main player, becomes a stronger storm. Winds there coming out of the northeast that usually holds the cold air in place. That's why we call it a nor'easter. And yeah, that's what we have. But usually they happen in the wintertime. No one likes them in April. I guess some of you might like them in April. I don't know. You have to have a respect for Mother Nature. We missed out on the winter, so we're getting it in April, I guess. So heavy wet snow. Back to these headlines here: heavy wet snow, windy conditions, and power outages. If you're just joining us on the Facebook Live here, YouTube, and on X, this is what we're highlighting for Wednesday night through Thursday. This is 8 a.m. on Thursday, so it is going to be cranking. I think in the morning Thursday. I think it's a pretty good shot that we will not be having school in many areas on Thursday. Friday, though, I think go back to school Friday. If you have power, I think it's possible you go back to school Friday. There's been a lot of questions on that. Actually, I fielded 2 questions so far on that exact topic. Will we have school on Friday? I think Thursday's pretty much a slam dunk at this point. It's, you don't say that too often, but you have some heavy wet snow. I think the road's going to be tricky, especially in the morning. And Friday will lighten up. It will just have rain and snow showers Friday, but I think that will be completely dependent on if you have power. Heavy wet snow will weigh down some of the tree limbs, especially the pine trees. We've seen that before. And that will probably cause some problems with outages, especially where we have, a foot of snow. I mean, that's where we'll have the big issues, I think. Going into Friday, though, this storm is slow to spin down, slow to weaken, slow to move out. It's captured by the jet stream, so it's just going to hang out and spin for Friday and Saturday. So what does that mean for us? Well, we'll have some rain and snow showers. We'll probably have some on and off rain and snow showers for most of you Friday and again Saturday. And at night, that may flip over to some snow showers. As far as additional accumulations Friday, Saturday, the mountains could see a little bit more, but I don't think we'll get much additional accumulation for most of us. On Friday, Saturday. Most of the action is tomorrow evening through Thursday. So it's Wednesday night through Thursday. That's the main event here. This is 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Some of you may get a sunrise. If you do, it's fading sun. Whatever we get for precip during the afternoon or early afternoon on Wednesday is probably just some garbage, light snow showers, flurries, rain showers, or areas of drizzle near the coast. But the main event is this guy right in there. It's possibly getting down into the Kittery, Portsmouth, Elliott area around 1 o'clock or so. It's getting up into the Lake Winnipesaukee region, snow around 1 o'clock. Most of us in southern and central Maine, it's late afternoon and going into the evening that will get into the action. And many of you within the first 20, 30 miles from the coast will probably start as rain. You'll quickly flip over to some snowfall here. So we're talking primarily snow during the overnight hours. Notice that pink color right there. You see this popping up in a bunch of spots, especially in some of the valleys here. That is likely sleet. So the sleet will be disappearing as that coastal low gets going because colder air is working in aloft and at the ground level. So for sleet, you need warmer temperatures aloft. And that's been a little bit of a question mark in this window here. And it looks like it's going to be less of an issue, sleet or freezing rain. I don't think we're going to see much of that. What we will have that's going to make this forecast kind of a little bit of a difficult forecast within the first 20 miles of the coast, temperatures are probably going to be above freezing for a good chunk of the event. It's probably 33, 34 degrees. And the efficiency of accumulation, especially during the day, is going to be very, very poor for these areas. Now, where temperatures are a little bit colder over the interior, we hold on to white surfaces during the day Thursday. Dark surfaces will heat up. Remember, the sun angle is high this time of year. The sun is strong, just as strong as it is in August. So the radiation of the sun does get through the clouds. Any dark objects will heat up. And I think we'll notice that on Thursday. Areas that do get plowed well might end up being just wet as far as the roadways go until that sun sets. And then, we got that rinse and repeat cycle again with, probably start to ice up again and things like that. And any accumulating snow will start to accumulate. Any falling snow will start to accumulate in that window there. So April snow events are very interesting. It's almost like it has to happen at night and early morning for us to get decent accumulations. And that is certainly in the cards this time around here. So this is 8 a.m. Thursday, and we're continuing to get some snowfall, some moderate to at times heavy bands of snow. And notice by 2, 3 o'clock, it's lightening up. And as far as the rate of accumulation, it's probably going to be pretty poor during the afternoon on Thursday. And Friday, we're left with just rain and snow showers. That's 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday. So I think we'll make a run at 40 degrees on Friday, and we'll do it again on Saturday. At nighttime, the hills and mountains may see some light accumulations, but I don't think we're going to get much additional accumulation Friday and Saturday. And the wind starts to relax. It picks up a little bit going into Saturday, we'll get gusts around 20 miles per hour or so, but it's not going to be too bad. So the main event, if you're just joining us, is Wednesday evening through the day Thursday. Snowfall amounts, if you're just joining us on the Facebook, X, and YouTube, no real changes here. Let's highlight some of the spots that will be, I think, rather interesting. Christian and I have been watching this, and Amanda and Ryan. We've been talking a lot about, Emily and Ryan. We've been talking a lot about this bullseye in northern York County here. So there'll be some spots from Leamington going all the way back to all the way up to maybe Brownfield, Hiram, from Acton points north, Shapley points north up here, Porter perhaps in this region. I think there'll be some spots that get 18 plus, maybe 18 to 20, 18 to 24, somewhere in there. And there'll be another bullseye in the typical spots. There's Mount Washington right there. So the presidential ring hits hard in this sort of setup, anywhere from Bartlett to Glen to Jackson, up to about Gorham. Berlin, I don't think gets into the extreme stuff here. Just because you're downsloping at that point, you need to be pretty much on the eastern side of the slopes to get some of the heavier snowfall amounts. And that'll be true up into Carrabassett Valley, Sugarloaf, Saddleback area. Some of the ski resorts that will really benefit from this setup will be Sugarloaf, Saddleback, Wildcat, Cannon. Those areas right there will probably get some of the heavier snow because you have colder temperatures in your favor as well. So it'll be a little bit fluffier in that region. A few spots that are also in that region, I guess. There's Cranmore right here. There's King Pine as well right here, and they're hosting their Wild Corn backcountry ski event this Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I think that if they can hold on to power, it'll be exciting to check that one out as well. I think that's one of the events that I'll be attending with the family this weekend. Should be fun to check that out. Hopefully we all have power for this. But we're talking about this 12 to 18 for interior York County from Sanford up to about the Standish area. This goes back to Wyndham. This goes back to Raymond here, going back to Sebago, basically the entire Sebago Lake region. That extends up into Lewiston, goes up into Auburn area. This goes up into Farmington, Jay area, the Route 2 corridor. This extends from Rumford to Mexico, Bethel, Newry. And we'll get a solid foot to a foot and a half of snow in that region there. Now, where it starts to drop off a little bit will be in central Maine, and it's not dropping off by all that much. We're talking about 8 to 12 or 8 to 14 inches in this range here from Augusta to Waterville. I decided I wanted to put interior or northern Waldo County in this, and the northern part of Knox, Lincoln, Saginaw County. The peninsulas probably get into the 5 to 10. I think the efficiency of accumulation might be very poor, and there's still a lot of question marks there. You know, if we can hold on to true snow that's accumulating, that's not really melting at times, some of these areas could easily end up with a foot. So that's certainly a possibility. But I think that 5 to 10 is going to be true across coastal York County, maybe the peninsula here down to Cape Elizabeth, Scarborough, and Cumberland County as well. And that goes into southern New Hampshire. Seacoast New Hampshire, maybe a little bit less down into northern parts of Massachusetts. You're not going to see nearly as much there as we see more mixing. And that's been a bit of a question mark, I think, over the last couple of days. I'm like, what's this area right in here going to get? How much mixing are we going to get? I don't think we're going to get a ton of it, but the ratios as far as can we accumulate snow is going to be a compact, wet snow? Is it going to be a fluffier snow? And I don't think anyone's getting a fluffy snow, but ratios have been a bit in question in this area right here. So, and these areas start as a little bit of rain as well. So stay tuned to the forecast, but I'm feeling pretty good about the bullseyes right here going back into northern York County, Mount Washington Valley, and a few spots up in the western mountains of Maine. All right, winds. Let's talk wind for a moment here. Wind starts cranking 10, 11 o'clock tomorrow night. We'll start to get some gusts around 40 miles per hour or so. And this is 2:30 in the morning, Thursday. It's one of those nights where you may go to bed with power and then wake up and the power's out, or maybe you wake up to the power going out. I think we'll be getting many inches of snow overnight, and it's in that window the wind is picking up. So I think heading into the morning hours on Thursday, we're talking 10, 11 o'clock Wednesday night through about noon on Thursday. That's going to be your peak window of strong winds. So let's highlight where we'll have the strongest winds now. Those of you across the Penobscot Bay area, Mid-Coast Maine, coastal Cumberland County, coastal York County, these areas will get peak wind gusts probably 45 to 55 miles per hour. And as we go back over the interior here, it's probably more likely 30 to 40 or 30 to 35 miles per hour. It's not going to be quite as strong. The mountains will get some strong winds, especially on the western side of some of those mountains as well. You get more of a downsloping wind, which can be an interesting wind sometimes. But you get some of the heavy wet snow, especially in the pine trees. That's why I think we're going to have some problems. If we didn't have the wind, I think this would be a much more manageable storm. But we have the wind, and it'd be nice if we just had a snowstorm and clean it up and say goodnight to it. But I think we will have some issues with power outages. And probably a lot of issues with power outages. It's one of those setups. It's kind of cool. Check this out. You see the center of low pressure? That's the center of our storm. The winds, they rotate counterclockwise around low pressure. But the back edge of the stronger winds will start to move out for Thursday night. So we'll start to see some improvement Thursday night and Friday. We'll continue to get precipitation, but the wind starts to die down a little bit. All right, now to the good stuff. Eclipse forecast. Monday at this point is looking pretty good. And I think we'll see a lot of sun, mostly sunny skies, winds northwest around 10. And you might not even need a jacket with temperatures in the 50s. It's possible. So this is the early thought. Here's the path. You see the path of the eclipse on Monday. This is between 3 and 4 o'clock. A good chunk of areas from Texas all the way down through the Midwest here. These areas may end up cloudy until we get to New York, Vermont, northern New Hampshire, and Maine. Right now, we look like we're going to have the best viewing here as far as the eclipse goes. And that'll be about 3:30 in the afternoon. The action gets going around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, a little after 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday. But it will peak, or the totality will happen around 3:30. For some areas in the path, northern Maine, northern parts of New Hampshire. If you're looking for information on the eclipse, Emily Santom did a really nice job of the story tonight. And Christian Bridges did a story as well. You can find it on our website. Some interesting stuff that I learned today about the eclipse. If you're looking to nail down timing, how much you're going to see of it, the percentages, and that kind of thing. So Emily put together that story today, and Christian had some interesting stats about it. Eclipses as well. So the next few days go like this: late day rain or snow. Don't let that icon just fool you. Tomorrow's, most of the day is cloudy. It's more so evening. We'll get into the action. It's a weather worn night tomorrow night into Thursday for snow, heavy at times. And, it's possible we reach blizzard conditions. I mean, that's a real possibility. You need the strong winds, heavy snowfall. I think we'll get the wind. I'm not convinced we'll get the quarter-mile visibility. We'll see if that happens. But if we do, we'll get blizzard conditions. We'll see. It looks like Friday will feature some rain, mainly rain showers near the coast, more the same Saturday. Sunday's a little bit better. Inland areas, rain and snow showers. If we see additional accumulations Friday, Saturday, it's probably hills and mountains, and it's probably pretty light. Most of the action is probably going to be going to Wednesday night into Thursday. So that is pretty much it here. Let me see here. If you're just joining us, looks like we have several hundred of you still on. Thank you very much for joining tonight. It's exciting stuff. Nobody likes spring snowstorms here, but we'll get through it. We'll be all right. We're Mainers. We can handle this. We're pretty resilient, right? I was actually thinking I planted grass seed last year. I was wondering possibly about fertilizing my lawn tomorrow and just having the melting snow kind of seep into the lawn. I don't know. Never done that before, but I'm curious what your thoughts are on that. If anyone's tried that before. I typically don't fertilize my lawn, but I just planted it and planted some grass. So we'll see. Yes, buddy. Hey, buddy. How are you? Triple point low. Classic. Yeah. Open the textbook to nor'easters. This is it. All right. Bexy says, is it likely York could get less than 10 inches? Probably at the coastline. I bet you'll get a little bit less there. We'll see. Yeah, the reward. You got it, Keith. I think we'll have some sun. Let's hope that forecast holds. Start time in Falmouth, 4 o'clock. Just a guess. Somewhere late afternoon, early evening. Hope that helps, Lisa. Dave, you'll probably be working in the storm, won't you? I think you asked me this question 2 weeks ago, didn't you? What'd I say? Keep the plow on, just or keep the the sanders on and the salt machinery on. Um, yeah, it's probably the last one. After this, we're in good shape, I think. After this, it's full on. Tell your brother it's full on pumpkin growing season. Boy. All right. Will the day Friday and Saturday be rain? No, rain and snow showers, Becky. Down your way, it's probably just rain showers. Shouldn't be a big deal. Brandon, will there be widespread power outages? I think the answer to that is yes. So heavy, wet snow, strong winds. I think there'll be some power outages. I plan, charge up the devices and, get a flashlight or a headlamp or something. You'll be in good shape. All right, let's see here. What else do we have? Troy says if the snow melts too fast, then there's flood. Yeah, we hope it doesn't melt too fast. I don't think it will. It should be a nice slow melt. You really need a good rainstorm to see some problems there. And that's possible. We'll see what's coming down the road. I don't see any major storms after this. So this might be it. This might be after tomorrow night's weather extra. This might be the last time we meet up together on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, or X and YouTube, talking about winter storms until maybe December of 2024. We'll see. So this will be fun. Oh, Tammy, she must not be around. All right. Well, we'll report back to you, Tammy, with what we get. It worked every storm since winter. It's crazy windstorm. Yeah, what a weird winter, Emily, right? Because we've had so many. It's been a dud snow year, but we've had so many interesting storms and terrible storms too. And you have the coastal flooding, you had the river flooding earlier in December. We had the two coastal flooding events in January, and we had one 2 weeks ago, and that's one thing we haven't talked about. Coastal flooding. This the Thursday morning high tide 7:27, I think 7:29. Somewhere there. If the forecast tide is, the tide is expected to be 9 point something feet. Forecast tide is 12.4 feet. So that would bring us in a minor flood stage, not moderate or major, but I think there will be some minor coastal flooding Thursday morning high tide. What's the power outages, likelihood of power outages? I think there'll be some, absolutely. The big question is, will it be widespread? It probably depends on how much snow you get, Owen. If you get over a half foot of snow, I plan on there being a lot of outages, especially if the wind's calm for a little while and then it picks up. But yeah, I plan on outages. You know what? I was actually thinking the same thing. I was looking at my garlic today, and it's probably about 3 inches high at this point. Garlic is popping out. Yeah, I actually have daffodils that are in bloom right now at our house. There's one variety of daffodil. I don't know what it is, but it always comes out early. It's a small one. But we got it as a gift from when my daughter was born 14 years ago. And I just, it came in a basket. I just put it in a flower bed, and it blooms every year. It's beautiful. It's the first one that always comes out, and it started blooming last week. So daffodils, garlic. Hey, spring is in the air. Yeah, Diana. I think it's gone. I think it's gone next week. So even if we get a foot of snow, it'll be a slow melt, and hopefully it's all gone by Tuesday. Let's go with that. 12 to 18. Yeah, there'll be some spots to get 12 to 18. That's right, Robert. Yeah, let's go back. You might be wondering, there's your snowfall map. This is what we're expecting. Still some question marks within the first 20 miles of the coast. I will say something to keep an eye on. Westbrook gets into the 8 to 14. Yeah. Steve's asking that question. Sorry, Steve. Yeah, it does look pretty bad. There must be another question up here, Troy. Diana, inches in Naples. Yeah, Naples 12 to 18. Everybody's asking if they're working. Emily, you working? I like the message board. This is where you guys can link up and figure out who's working. Good stuff. Maybe we'll hear from the governor. We'll see. It depends. Probably depends on how many outages we get. Troy, love living inland. You know what, Troy, though? My guess, I sense a sarcasm maybe in that. Maybe, I'm not sure. But I live over inland Maine, and this is important. When I moved here in I see. I first moved to Maine in 2002, I think. Somewhere in there. I know. Anyway, I had a nice conversation with former meteorologist, chief meteorologist here, Dave Santoro. And Dave said, Charlie, when you're looking to buy a house, whatever you do, don't live at the coast because you don't get a spring. And I remember him saying that. And he's right. With water temperatures in the 40s and 50s, it's just you never get a spring at the coast. But with that said, in the summertime in July and August, coastal towns, it's really nice. And inland towns, I live inland, and it's 90 to 5 degrees and humid. But I love living inland because you get a spring. I mean, you get with a true southwest wind or a south wind, it's warm. It's nice. But you don't get that when you live, especially mid-coast Maine. That's a hard one. Mid-coast Maine is so beautiful, though. You always have the air conditioner of the Gulf of Maine. But I always think of Dave when we talk about that. All right. Wishful thinking. North Conway. Yeah, we're getting buried again. North Conway. You got it. Let's take a look at the timing again. Bath. Bath could be one of those situations here, Sarah, where you maybe you get down to southern part of Bath. You get in the 5 to 10, but the northern part gets into the 8 to 14. Jeff DeRosa used to always point this out. He's one of our former freelance meteorologists, and he just finished up a stay down at South Pole Station. Good friend of mine. I never actually worked with him at the Mount Washington Observatory, but that's how we connected years ago. But he grew up in Bath. That's the reason I mentioned this. And he would always talk about how northern parts of the town will get a lot more snow and southern parts of the town will get a lot less. So I guess it all depends on where you are in Bath and Brunswick. Brunswick's similar in that sense. Same with you, Wiscasset, 5 to 10 south down toward the peninsula, farther north, probably in the 84. And so call it upper end of the 5 to 10. Let's just go with 10 inches, 10 or 11 inches. How's that? Somewhere in there. 10 inches. I think you're going 10 inches, Lisa. That's my guess. Yeah, we're overloaded. Yeah, we've had enough water, right? Yeah. 8 to 14, 8 to 12, somewhere in there. Steve? Yes, I think it will melt next week, Emily. How much for every individual town in Maine? It's funny because last night I didn't have time to do this, but it's fun to kind of go through all these. Yeah, how much for every town? Everybody wants to know their town. Holy cow, I still have a ton of questions to go through here. Oh boy, I'm in trouble tonight. All right, how about we'll hold off on the towns here, and we'll just look at the map. I'll pick out a few more questions, then we'll call it a night here. We'll revisit this tomorrow night. Tomorrow's Wednesday night. Yeah, right. Wednesday. Yeah. It's gonna say tomorrow. Thursdays are Rennie's forecasts, so we could just do a regular forecast tomorrow. Easter Bunny brought it. Yeah, I mean, Sarah brings up a good point. 36 degrees. Will it really snow? Yeah, I mean, it's not great efficiency of accumulation because the temperatures don't look great. So you'll get down, where are you, Sebago? You'll get down in low 30s. So it will accumulate. This is kind of the situation. It has to happen at night. You'll notice a big difference during the day Thursday when it's snowing because it's not going to accumulate as well on Thursday, just because the sun's radiation gets through the clouds. So absolutely. That's a good question. All right. How much in Sanford? Oh, Sanford would get a lot of snow. I think Sanford gets on probably the 12 to 18, upper end of the 12, lower end of the 12 to 18. So somewhere in there, 12, 13, 14, somewhere in there. Oh man, I'd love to go skiing at the Loaf this weekend. That sounds like fun. All right, I think we went through most of this. Let's just go through the timing one last time here, and then we'll put this one to bed. There's the storm getting organized. Time frame starts off tomorrow morning with fading sun. Most of tomorrow's fine. Kids go to school. I don't think we'll see any problems. 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we're introducing some rain and snow south. If you get rain during the afternoon or evening. You'll flip over to snow. The heavy wet stuff gets going all night Wednesday night, continues most of the day Thursday. This is 8 a.m. Thursday, and the wind will be strongest tomorrow night through about midday Thursday. And the storm will be slow to move out on Friday. We're left with some rain and snow showers Friday. Additional accumulations look very, very light for Friday, Saturday. Best chance will be in the mountains. So most of the actions tomorrow night and going into the day on Thursday. So this is a Wednesday evening through Thursday storm. That's what we're expecting for snowfall amounts. The only change we made today is we brought down, actually I brought down these contours in southern New Hampshire, and I also wanted to highlight that bullseye over northern parts of York County. I think there'll be some spots getting to the 18 to 24 there. All right, folks, I hope that answers all your questions tonight, or at least most of them anyway. Let's meet back here tomorrow night. We'll have some more fun. We'll talk about the storm system as it's moving in. And we can say goodnight to this one later this week. And hopefully we can say goodnight to wintry weather as well. We'll have more updates coming up on CBS 13 and 11 and Fox 23 at 10. See you then. Have a nice night.